next speaker is the founder of Biovotion, an organization developing specialized non-invasive psychological monitoring products and health applications. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Andreas Caduff.
Thank you, Marty. Thanks for actually a very insightful talk. You're obviously a passionate and experienced software person. I can tell you, I'm not a software person. I'm not even an engineer. So you can turn around and then you can walk away if you don't like that, and then maybe the room is empty. But I would like to take you on a quick journey, actually, and just let's look at the title: Born in the Cloud, the new generation of integrated hybrid medical devices. Anyone can figure out what we actually mean here? Okay, some hands that go up. So, say again, go. Say something. Tricorder. Okay, tricorder. It's not too bad. The hybrid bit, I can tell you, medical devices today are making a transition from being an expert device in the hospital into the hands of the layman to the patient's home. If we want patients to use medical technology, we need to wrap this in a way that they can use it. And I would love to share our thoughts, what actually comes along with that, if you develop a platform that goes along with that, and what you need to consider, maybe some regulations that's coming in, etc., and the things that we're building, and the things actually that we haven't got yet, but I'd love to actually share with you some of the questions that we have, and maybe even some of you can help me. That question, you hear that probably every morning when you travel in the US, you hear it every 15 minutes. But I can tell you, we know very little about that. And I'll take you through that journey. I'll actually take you through a number of elements that show you actually how I mean that. We know a lot about jet engines. A jet engine today has got dozens, if not even more, sensors on board. They monitor the temperature, fuel consumption, they probably monitor wear blades, and etc., etc. And that data from a flight from New York to Chicago, it actually collects about a terabyte of data, and increasingly so with real-time analysis, etc. Does that happen to a human being? No, of course not. Because 99%, 99.8% of our lives take place outside the hospital and outside the physician's office. Which means this is where we collect data. Increasingly, yes, we collect data actually in a patient or user's home, but so much less. Any jet engine today is better monitored than us human beings. So, it's a very simple question that we said, but actually it's very difficult to answer objectively. Let's take a closer look. There is one fact I can tell you. And maybe these people that left now and actually woke up at the sun is probably very smart, because if you want to live long, walk. That's essentially the law. The longer you walk, the longer you live. That's been known for 20 years. The faster you walk, the less risk you have in terms of mortality. If you want to do a digital health solution, I'm actually wearing such a device here. You can't even see it, so it's quite discreet. It's a medical device. What we've actually combined together here, and the things that we've embedded, there are these things that Rox can understand a bit something about biophysics and physiology, sensors and algorithms, attachment, the way you actually attach such a device, because you want to have it 24/7 on. Then actual interfaces, it's not just really useful if you just heart rates on displays. Cybersecurity is an important topic, because we're dealing with very private, very personal data, medical information. Regulations and norms, you want to know that, you want to know a little bit about the marks and implications. There's quite some elements that you need to put together, and it's not just a piece of software, it's not just a piece of hardware, it's much more than you'd like to combine. Now this is how such a device looks like. This is how the device looks like that I'm wearing here. The device has no buttons, it has no cables, it has no tape, no calibration, we all eliminated that. It's certified as a medical device class 2A, and it's got an FDA listing 510K exempt as a medical device. And it's completely directed towards a super easy use, outside consumerized, inside medical technology. The Charger is a QoS standard-based charger. You just put it on there and that's it. Intelligence is inside. Now, whenever we see a complex system inside that looks so easy outside, there's obviously a lot of software. Just to summarize again, what actually is in there, so it's a medical grade type of motion tolerant type of vital sign monitor, certified, cybersecurity, implementation, GDPR, etc. We'll come to that. This is just a listing of the things we should actually quickly look at together in order to get a bit of an understanding. It's attached on the upper arm, very deliberately so. Anything that is actually down here may be a bit challenging. We've seen that now. We don't really get the accuracy they would like to have from the wrist, so we've actually gone for another place in the body. Non-intrusive, discrete, no buttons, etc. Multi-sensor platform, and actually designed with the consumer in mind and the medical device quality at heart. So that's this combination. And this is actually, if you then look at which parameter that we're measuring there, it's a lot of parameters that you can measure today with optics. From heart rate, pulse wave analysis, the way blood pulsates through the body, how often it does that, and then that. So these are some of the parameters that we're doing with that device. Now, looking at that platform, obviously if you just hand out a device, such a device to a patient, that is not enough. You really want to have something that actually integrates and it becomes actionable. So you need a platform, and I'm sure we've obviously heard a number of things in that direction already in this session here. So we need a platform as well. But if you look at that platform and sort of flatten that thing a little bit out and look at the individual section, I would like to show you a little bit what we've actually been working on and what we continue to work in order to implement this in a way that it's compliant with norms so that it can really create that value. So what we're seeing here, obviously, we first have that device. There's a lot of firmware on it, elevated storage, security. Then we have an app on the smartphone. It's embedding Bluetooth communication, obviously, GAG module, etc. You're making Bluetooth communication, it's quite easy, etc. If you're dealing with a lot of data, a lot of devices and all that, etc., they're all complexity that is actually being added up. And it's so that with quite of an expert team, this has taken us a lot of time. It's taken a long time to get actually this embedded in a way that it becomes so seamless, so automatic, and so robust that we can really say, now let's say that's fine, it can go into the layman's hands. We have account creation, illustration, again security, there's another security layer. Then we have cloud, account management, data storage, export functionalities, data model encryption again, obviously, app user management, performance monitoring, because you would like to see what's happening. If you have a lot of data that is being uploaded into that, and analytics, you want to make sure that, you can maintain the performance. And then at some point, from dashboards to alerts and visualizations, communications, we want to have that somehow embedded into a communication platform, because there's one thing that we've learned: do not take away the access to the human being for the patient. That's something that has become very important. We cannot just replace all these things by artificial intelligence and whatever, etc., and skip that part. So now the lower layer that you actually see there is, if you develop such a platform, then, and that's the unpleasant bit about it, there is a lot of regulation that you will need to obey. And then we can see there from entities, FDA, ISO 1345. I'm not even going to read those through here, but I can tell you, what you see on this slide here is just sort of a top layer of what you need to reflect and embed. And there is more regulation actually coming on top of it. You can see these coordination. GDPR is one of the very important game changers that we're seeing next year coming in May 2018. And I'd like to show you quickly and summarize that, what that actually means there. So, an ecosystem, not just an app. And I know you know this here, but I can tell you, a lot of stakeholders out there really believe, well, there's a little app and there's this device and that's it. It's very easy and quick to program. No, it's not. There is so much layers that we need to put on top of each other. GDPR, that's, and I'm quite sure that many in here, who actually knows about GDPR? Let me see those. So if that is the case, and you're all in the IT space, who is in the IT space? Okay, you're either liars or you're tired. Because GDPR is something that all will affect you. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. Let's go for the tired. You're all tired. So I'll wake you up with that a little bit. GDPR essentially, just to summarize that, I know that you know it, is protecting the privacy, data, in the European Union, and it has got a global reach. So if you're in the US and you say, well, I have a few European customers and all that, etc., you are affected by that. In essence, if you just on a high level, what it actually does is it's incorporating the right to be forgotten. Which essentially means I can ask, the patient can ask and say, Biovotion, you deleted my account and my data, please do that now. Portability. The new regulation there that's coming in is actually saying I can export my data and bring it to another vendor. Privacy by design. Design these things and not just sort of in the end, a last little level of some privacy design to be added there, but we need privacy by design. Incorporate it very early into the system architecture. Data leaks, if something is leaking out there, you need to proactively inform. Information right, a user can place at the location where he's residing, he can place that request in this country, and then just go to Ireland for Facebook and never get an answer. This is going to change. And there are penalties. You're going to pay quite some money if you violate some of that stuff, and that's going to be serious. So, having said that, this is something I don't want to go through this in detail here, but in essence, what it means to make a hybrid medical device into an ecosystem, you essentially want to have a few functional blocks combined in a way that you can actually unfold this into an offering that is becoming scalable, that is becoming a business, and that actually starts to create that value. I've tried to simplify that down, and I would like to maybe highlight 3 elements there. We would like to have a controlled open system where third parties can contribute algorithms to create value and then deploy it through that in a controlled way. If I offer a value, I need to classify that and cannot just throw it out at patients. What I find important as well is this consent tracking module. If you're looking for a business idea, you're all these software people here, I can tell you, deliver a robust, easy solution for dynamic consent management. Which means I give the right to you to actually look at my data. Just today, tomorrow, I'll revoke that. So a dynamic consent management. This is a solution that we need to have. And that's obviously not that easy, depending on which structures come together, who, with whom, what rights and all that, etc. And that's something which is very, very relevant. And we're very much interested in seeing how can we actually get this done right, so that we're compliant and it's very easy to use still. Another part is obviously other data syncs and elements that will actually connect information by design is one thing, but what about your blood tests that are being taken in the hospital? That you're going to take in the future, you will actually be taking blood tests at home by yourself every day, once a week. You know that it's all going to come together. So we somehow need to bring these pieces of information together. And there are some standards out there, some others are actually coming out new, and some of them are more efficient and others are less efficient. Now let's go a step further. It's a race of data that is going on here. And that race of data is going to be regulated in a different way as of next year. So we need to be smart about that. So we have sort of 2 sides, health or fitness data from the bottom and true medical data from the top. And some of this comes together. We would like to combine these things. Combine it in a way that we can actually derive the best actionability and empowerment. And I'd like to show you for the remaining couple of minutes some examples of what actually such a device pumps out in terms of information. Here's a little bit of data. That device here, it looks very nice with this white and then this color and the band and all that. I'd like to tell you it's a monster. This little monster collects a lot of data. Billions of heartbeats very, very soon with full IBM capability, which stands for intra-beat interval, measuring the time duration between your heartbeat now, the second, the third, the fourth, and so on, etc. And that gives unbelievable insights in what's really happening to your body. So let's quickly look at that. Before we jump into that, we're careful with this big data type of thingy, because I can tell you, the biggest value that we derive today is data intra-individually. Data from you and compare day to day, to yesterday, to a month ago, and all that, etc. It's not even so that comparing you all together, etc., is creating a lot of value. It will, of course, but starting each individually is already a big step and extremely insightful. And there I have a few examples that I would like to show you. How do we do that? We need a user interface that we as individuals can capture very quickly what's going on. If I show you the same information as a time chart, heart rate, blood pulse rate, activity, time, and we actually show it like a time chart, you see all these lines, etc., it will be pretty much meaningless. What does this mean? I'll explain it quickly. 6 o'clock in the bottom, 6 o'clock in the morning, on top 12 o'clock at noon, 6 o'clock at evening, and then 12 o'clock at night. 2 times 12 hours, like a mechanical watch. I'm Swiss, so we like to watch stuff. So, and then you can see green means low heart rate, red means high heart rate, and the extension of the bar is how intensively you actually move. So I move intensively after 10, and my heart rate is increasing, because it's red. And then the blue shading around it is how stressed am I? Stressed in the sense of how my blood pulsates through the body. Not how often, but qualitatively how it does that. So this is actually what we're looking at. The darker the shading around it, the more stressed I am. Let's look at a few examples. This person here on the left, you can see that this guy here, after 12, he has been moving very intensively and he's got a very high heart rate. This guy here, gave him a device, he's used it for a week, and then he realized how little he moves. And he told that, look, I've been really feeling very strange and not very well for about 3 years now. I would like to somehow find out, because I've been with doctors and I have no clue. No one actually could tell me what's wrong with me here. So he did this for a few times, and then he was motivated to do it, to go and do sports and run and exercise. And then, what did we learn? You can see after that 1 hour of intense exercise, his heart rate, even though he doesn't move, it remains very, very high. And it only starts to recover after many, many hours. After about 6 hours, he goes into yellowish, which is maybe even still 70, 80 heartbeats per minute. Way too high, because he's sitting already for 6 hours. His blood pulse wave, so the qualitatively how his blood pulsates through the body, remains completely dark. His body is completely under stress. He's done that for another week. He's actually come to us, he shared the data, and he said, look, this is actually what I'm seeing here. Every time I'm doing exercise, this is what I get. He said, look, every time other people are doing exercise, this is what they get. You see on the right side, this is how a healthy person looks like. You have a very fast cardiovascular recovery. If you now go here and run, you can get a very, very quick sort of differentiation and can distinguish who's actually maybe stressed, who's actually maybe better trained and not so trained. This guy, he then went to the doctor. He told him, look, you really should go and see a doctor. He took that, he presented the information. After a week, he came back to us. He had a little bit of tears in his eyes. He gave us a hug and he said, Biovotion, thank you very much. I finally know what's going on with me. He was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea, which is breathing sedations during the night. Makes you feel horrible when you get up in the morning and you're not recovered. And on top of that, he had a burnout. He's on the way to get this fixed. Finally, he can do something. Finally, he can rectify a situation that he's been living for 3 years with. 2 more other examples. This is the choices that you make. This person on the left here is having a tough business day, very much engaged, a lot of excitement, and then at 9 o'clock, so he comes to rest, and then he's been drinking water all day, even in the evening before he goes to bed and drinks water. He's got a very relaxed night until about 5 o'clock in the morning. He gets up, ready for the next day. We can see heart rate is this very, very turquoise type of color, so which means below 50. If you want to recover well during sleep, have your heart rate go below that level. If you're at 60, 70, etc., typically you do not recover well, even if you stay 10 hours in bed. Blood pulse wave, fine, not much modulation. The same situation. This person goes to bed after 9, after she had a few drinks. Alcohol consumption. She went to bed, she stayed in bed till about 7 o'clock and then got up and felt lousy. But she thought she slept actually quite alright. She had alcohol, she fell asleep quite quickly, but you can see the body only fell into this recovering type of mode after 3:30. So it's taken several hours to digest the effect of alcohol and reduce the heart rate to a level that you can really recover. So, why do we sometimes take really, really dumb decisions? Despite the fact that we know. Why is that? I would like to offer you an answer to that question. Do you actually know how you get a six-pack? Is there anyone with a six-pack here in the audience? You have a six-pack. There's always one that has one. Okay. Now, I can tell you, or I can tell you, get up quickly. I think people want to see a guy with a six-pack. So this is the guy with a six-pack. I can tell you how he did it. He obeyed this rule, 70% diet. You could do it like that. If you exercise more, you're a mistake. And 30% and 30% exercise. This is how you can get a six-pack. Maybe the other way around, I don't know. But this is how we can get it. You know what? There are more millionaires on this planet than people with a six-pack. Are you a millionaire? No? Okay. But at least you have a six-pack. So, what does that mean? It is unbelievably hard to change your behavior if you don't see that evidence day in, day out in a way that it becomes very actionable. That is going to be the key game and the key element in making things actionable in a way that we really have a change for ourselves that empowers us in a way that arrive at a positive outcome. Two more examples. Sleep. Again, sleep is a fundament of your well-being, and if you don't sleep well, we all know that we have every now and then we have that. If you don't sleep well, it is not a pleasant experience. This is the same individual here. It is one time, a guy, but that guy, he actually reads a book. He goes to bed at 10, he reads 2 hours, he falls asleep, and he enjoys 6 hours of recovering sleep. The same person there is charging his device, puts it on, and then he decides to watch TV in bed for an hour. I don't need to tell you anymore, look at it. We've gone through this several times now. He does not enjoy the same recurring sleep, and it is known. It is known. Don't put these LED lights, don't put certain wavelength of light into your eyes if you want to go to sleep. We all know that, but we still don't do it. The guy has completely stopped with that now because he says, you know what, tomorrow I have to get up at 6, I have a really, really intensive business day. Tonight I'm not going to watch TV, I skip that. And I do it much smarter, I enjoy that movie that night because I can then arrange it in a different way. He became smarter with the use of such technology. This is an example that was not his choice, and if this happens every now and then to you, it's also not your choice. This is a stomach flu. I don't like to talk about that, but this is actually what happens in your body when you have a stomach flu. You can see again, 6 o'clock in the evening, 12 o'clock at night. At 9 he goes to bed, he immediately falls asleep, his heart rate goes down to 50, and then an hour later, the body starts to go into a sort of an attack mode. Heart rate is every hour increasing, blood pulse wave is getting more stressed, so there's more adrenaline, there are other hormones that actually sort of change that, and at 3 o'clock, situation explodes, goes and walks. 24 hours later, you can see the data is recovered again. So this is actually how things look like. If you just see this snapshot, you would actually say, okay, maybe it's always like that, maybe not, etc. If you then take longitudinally on that data, it is becoming very fascinating to see how your body modulates, how you behave, etc. Here I want to just remain for 1 second. Something that we're really, really excited about is that we've now demonstrated with an upper arm attachment, we can do intrabeat interval monitoring that is equivalent to an ECG type of approach where you typically have electrodes on your chest. We can get rid of that, stick to this here, and do exactly the same. This is fascinating because many medical protocols out there are relying on input parameters that go exactly about this. Heart rate variability, the way your heart rate varies to beat, is enormously important and powerful for analysis. And that's why we want to have this. That's why we're so happy we succeeded to implement this. Just before I finish here, one snapshot about MENT. I've been telling you that now, and I've looked at, I don't know, thousands of spirals, my own other people, and we build sort of an expertise because we understand physiology also a little bit, obviously. And now you can see I know much more about physiology than software. However, what we want to do here, and this is the exercise that Biovotion is in now, we would like to codify expert knowledge in a way and combine it with machine learning that it can go into an app, that it becomes medically so relevant that I can make a projection into the future. How will I do with my battery? How sustainably am I dealing with my battery if I continue to behave and do as I am? So we want to give choices and actually say, if I make that change now, I can have an immediate response and an immediate benefit. And this is something that becomes really, really powerful because we want to sit in the cockpit and not just in row 35. This is the last slide to summarize here. The new medical devices that we're now seeing approaching the market, they combine the following elements. They're accurate, they're motion tolerant, they're extremely easy to use. Put on, and off you go. Not really need to push on a button. They're empowering, because I want to have a benefit to that. Not just a doctor, not just a hospital. I want to have a benefit. It allows day and night use. 60% of how you sleep is dictated by what you do during the day. It needs to be monitored at the same time. Connected, cyber secure, and GDPR compliant. That data is so insightful, and I just show you actually a snapshot. You really want to protect the privacy of the users, and we're very adamant about that. Codified expert knowledge and machine learning are elements that will actually add additional layers. See this now as this overarching umbrella, and then actually get an understanding of what a company like us and many others out there need to do